Hey, it's Cliff, and I'm thinking about getting into some riskier investments when it comes to the DeFi space. So I just want to point out that this is not something that I suggest for everyone, and really the majority of this video is going to be about all the risks that are associated with the DeFi space because it is really risky. So just to be clear, I don't recommend this to anyone, especially if you haven't maxed out your 401k and you haven't maxed out your IRA at least. So just keep that in mind that this isn't something that I'm recommending for people. I'm just showing you that it's out there and the possible risk and rewards associated with that. And then you can kind of make up your mind if this kind of investment is for you. But like I said, please work on your 401k, your traditional retirement accounts before you YOLO into something crazy like this, because you could lose pretty much everything. So I've been checking out Osmosis here, and as you can see, I got a little bit of money in there when I was testing out. They had a issue with the relay, so I was making sure that people in the community could kind of get their money back when it was sent in. So it was all good to go. The team updated everyone perfectly, and I'm definitely on board with Osmosis right now. So just to show you right now, this is a stablecoin pool paired with Osmo, and the APR right now is around 131%, which is just stupid crazy. Like, that is so much money. I actually broke it out here. If you threw $1,000 into this right now at 131%, you'd be making $3.59 a day, which is just stupid. That's stupid money to get back. Put it in a little bit of a smaller perspective. Let's say you just threw $100 in, you're getting 36 cents a day. So after a month, you've already got $11 back on this return. So it's definitely high reward, but it's also high risk. So I want to point out in the majority of this video all the risks that are associated with Osmosis. So obviously one of the risks that we would first look at is Osmosis itself. Obviously this could be a fluctuating token, and when you apply money to these liquidity pools, maybe it doesn't keep going up. That's the given though. Most people are probably thinking that, but there's more risk associated with it. And the number one risk that I've found and that you hear about all the time is from this article, which states DeFi rug pull scams pulled in $2.8 billion this year. Now this article is from 2021, December 16th, so it's still pretty current if you ask me. But it says rug pulls accounted for 37% of all scam revenue this year compared to 1% in 2021. So these DeFi scams are absolutely on the rise. So that just brings more risk into this equation. Obviously, great returns, huge risk. And if you don't know what a rug pull is, they actually have a good definition in here. Let's see. So in the case of DeFi platforms, developers conduct seemingly legitimate work on a blockchain, such as launching a work application and carrying out social media marketing before issuing a token and listing on a decentralized exchange, DEX. The listing is where the scam starts. Investors purchase the scam project's tokens in hopes of a price increase and supply liquidity to those projects on the DEX. The DEX is provided in the tokens of whichever blockchain that project is built on, such as the ERC20 token for Ethereum or SLPL tokens for Solana. Easy. All right. When the project is live for a few hours or days, the liquidity pools can run into tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars, because people are putting in their money into these liquidity pools, hoping that they're going to make these massive returns like I just showed you. This is where a scammer strikes in and pulls all the liquidity away from the DEX, pocketing the entire amount. So even though some people might consider these are decentralized finance products, which don't have any CEO or people that can control this, they still have developers that are working on these projects, and those developers can reach into those liquidity pools and take everything and run away. And there's really not a lot of laws for them to kind of stop this or go after anyone. It's pretty hard to do. So you're 100% at risk when doing this, and just know that your money can be gone within seconds. But moving on to another thing that I'm kind of worried about is this going on. Biden's crypto executive order is coming this week. So as most of you probably know, Biden was supposed to issue a executive order a couple weeks ago, but with the Ukraine Russia thing going on, this was kind of put on the back burner. But as of now, this order is expected to be going out. And the issue that I see with this is we don't really know what's going to happen with this. So that brings a lot of questions. So there's a vague thing in the report here that says the order will direct federal agencies to examine potential regulatory changes, as well as the national security and economic impact of digital assets. It's very vague. And one thing I've noticed, and we can use Binance as an example, I think a lot of early people in crypto were on Binance, and the US did not like that because Binance was not hosted in the US, which meant they couldn't really enforce their policies on the US, or on a Binance rather. So what ended up happening is if Binance wanted to keep their US customers, because they weren't allowed to, the US government wasn't allowed to apply their laws to Binance. So what they were forced to do, Binance had to make Binance US. So if you remember way back, if you had a Binance account, you were forced to switch to Binance US and all of your assets had to be transferred over just so they could, the US could have compliance on what was going on Binance. So when I see regulatory clarity, that it always concerns me because I don't know what that means to these people. And when you look at someone like, I don't know, Hillary Clinton or Janet Yellen, these people who don't understand crypto at all, and they just think that they just pretty much just want to ban it, which I don't agree with that at all. But that could be the people who are part of these meetings to bring laws in. And not to mention, in the US, lobbying is a huge thing for US when it comes to laws. And these banks who don't want you to have DeFi, obviously, because they want you to still be on the banking platform, they're going to have a lot of money to lobby and shift the laws to the way that they want things to go. So this could be bad. Maybe it's not. Hopefully it's not. I don't know. We're going to have to see. But I consider this a risk DeFi. And if you're getting into DeFi to make that huge amount of money, this is something that is definitely going to affect you. Now, when people typically think of risk to investing in DeFi, it's usually because of what they call impermanent loss. And I'll give you this article's definition of it because I think it's really good. Liquidity pools take on risk known as impermanent loss. It essentially means that users would have earned more simply by holding the asset than depositing them into liquidity pools. When the price of the asset in the pool changed at different rates, LPs end up owning larger amounts of the assets that increase less in the price. So, and then they give an example here, which makes it a lot simpler to understand. So you got Alice here and you got Bob. Both of them are putting in 100 Atom and 10,000 Osmo into this liquidity pool. All right. So the price of Osmo moons. It skyrockets, goes up crazy amounts. Alice over here has got a Lambo because she's just holding on to her Osmo. So she has the token, she can sell it, she's good to go. Now Bob withdraws and gets back more Atom than he put in, but fewer Osmo. He wish he hodled instead of liquidity pooling, which makes sense because the Osmo that he would have had if he would have held on would have been worth a lot more than a pool redistributing assets to keep a certain percentage in that liquidity pool. So when you look at these liquidity pools, I'll actually go into one here. They're going to require you to have a certain ratio. Like this is 50% UST and 50% Osmo. Now, obviously, if this goes up a lot, they're going to have to sell off some of your Osmo to redistribute to UST, right? So in that example, he probably still made some money from the liquidity pool, but just not as much as he would have made if he would have just been holding the token outright. So that's definitely something to think of. So if you're comfortable with all three of those risks, there's a lot of money to be made here. So let me just go back to one of the pools and show you what I was looking at. So this first liquidity pool here, and also another risk I want to point out, when you're in these liquidity pools, you have to bond your tokens. So to me, that's not really much of an issue. And what bonding means is, as you put it in the pool, if you want to withdraw your money, you will either need to bond for a day, 7 days, or 14 days. And your APR will differ between the days that you are bonding. But to me, I kind of think like the reason why people would want to pull out quickly is because the price of the token is tanking. But one, if there's one example here, let's say everyone's bonded in on these, well, then most likely most people aren't getting out quickly, and you don't really have a whole lot to worry about. So if something goes wrong with the project and everybody's bonded for 14 days, you're probably going to be able to get out. So that doesn't really concern me much. But also, let's say not everybody's using these liquidity pools and they have their tokens and they are able to crash the market. Well, to me, it's not really going to matter. I've lived through so many Bitcoin crashes that when Bitcoin crashes, it tanks. It goes down 50 to 80% just like that. And there's really nothing you can do about it. You probably aren't going to be able to sell in time anyway. The best strategy that I found is just to hold on. Just keep going. Now, hopefully the project doesn't completely blow up, and I'm going to do more research into things like Atom and Osmo before I get in. But that's just what I found from Bitcoin. Typically, the best thing to do is just hold on, because it just keeps climbing, right? And these projects, if you actually believe in them and you're investing in them, most likely they're going to keep climbing too. But one of the good things about Osmo is they're adding what's called superfluid staking. So not only are you gaining money from the liquidity pool, you can actually stake at the same time, and you're able to get the interest from what you would get with staking. So you're kind of pairing two different forms of interest that you'd be getting back, which is perfect because you're able to secure the network a little bit while you're doing this. So I'm definitely on board with that. And as you're securing the network through staking, you get a vote on different proposals, which is definitely cool. That is like the most American thing that I can think of. You're actually contributing to the project. You get a vote and see where the project's going. So I'm definitely interested in that. If you guys got any questions about this, or if you have any comments about Osmosis, maybe you're a user of it, just definitely let me know, because I'm definitely into this. But like I said, this is not something you YOLO into. Definitely work on your retirement accounts, get your Roth IRA going, get your 401k going, make sure this is play money. This is money that if I were to lose all of this overnight, not really gonna matter to me. This is just fun. It's fun, and hopefully I make a lot of money, because that's fun to me, obviously. So investing is fun for me. That's my hobby. So hopefully something would come of it, and then maybe you can roll it into something else. Like you get a lot of money from risking it in this, maybe you could take the money out and have a down payment on a house or something, and keep rolling into different investments so that you can achieve financial independence. So let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.